Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of Socedo Live. Today, we've got a very special guest. Daniela Stolwerk is joining me all the way from Israel. We're going on Google Hangouts, and this is a guest that I'm actually really delighted to have on the show. She's a marketing consultant working specifically with B2B startups, mostly out of Israel, but really focused on enterprise marketing and how do you get these kind of startups that are focused on the developer audiences, technical audiences. How do we get them exposure online? So Daniela and I actually met on social media. We were having a conversation on Twitter, sharing ideas, and really kind of said, hey, why don't we get her on the show and have a little bit of a conversation about B2B social media marketing from the practitioners themselves. So Daniela, thank you for joining us on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and the types of clients that you work with.
Well, I've been doing startup marketing for almost 20 years now. And I work with clients in all different spaces. It doesn't matter what industry they're in, fintech or cybersecurity, code components, like anything that somebody comes up with as an idea and decides, hey, we're going to turn that into a startup. They come to me and I just set it up for them. It doesn't matter, marketing, especially with developers, it's like this wheel that just goes, from 0 to 100 in 30 seconds. You just have to go with that flow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Daniela, one of the things that caught my eye about our conversation on Twitter was your ideas around social media marketing. And this is one that I think in the B2B space, people are still, considering, is it important for us to be on social media? How much should we be investing in social media? So as you're kind of working with your clients, how do you think about social media marketing as part of the broader mix that you might be employing with one of these companies?
I mean, social media is a form of communication. And you want to communicate with your customers as much as possible. You want to send them emails because that's the best for conversion rates, but that's not the best form of interactive communication. So I think that using your voice on social media just to share information or to share tips, it lets people know that you're really there, that it's really a person, that you really believe in your product, you really know what you're doing with your product, and you have something valuable to add to them. If you don't give that information or you're stingy with it, what are they going to get from you? They don't need you.
That's so interesting, right? I mean, I think the first idea, and I know that B2B marketers love email, and it's so easy to track, and it's direct, but we all know the email inbox is getting more and more cluttered. And when we think about audiences, where are they spending their time? They're scrolling through their news feeds, and they're on social media. And to your point, B2B marketing is all about building credibility, building a reputation, and social media is one of the best ways to do that, to get that information out there, to not hold all of that valuable content to yourself. So how do you go about, kind of thinking through a social media strategy with one of your clients? What's the type of content that you like to get out there? How do you think through the editorial calendar?
Well, part of what social media is to me is communicate. It's like a conversation, a real conversation.
Right.
So for me, when I have a strategy for an editorial calendar, and we're going to talk about these topics and these blog posts, and these holidays are coming up, or these special events are coming up, that's the structured part. But you have to go in between the structure and just freestyle it. You just have to. You have to get on there and you have to see what are people talking about. And if there's a topic that pertains to you, if it's technical, you get your developers on, have them start the conversation. If it's about marketing and opinions, you just jump in, but you have to keep your eye on the pulse. That means you need to be on it all the time. You need to get your notifications. A lot of people are dismissive of that, saying, no, it's just like a waste of time, but it isn't. It isn't, because that's how I met you. It isn't because, Elon Musk is to retweet something that I write about him if he likes it. Where else is that possibly going to happen? It's not. The world is getting smaller through social media, and you have the whole world at your disposal, and to discount that is a disservice to the entire industry.
That's amazing. And I mean, you and I connecting here is a perfect example of that. I love the Elon Musk example. I think everybody that I know that's on Twitter or LinkedIn or you name the social network has this story about, man, I reached this publisher or this CMO or somebody that I would have never been able to talk to before just because I responded to a comment or a tweet or a post. And I think that one of the things that you said that I want to make sure the audience kind of hears is that social media isn't just broadcasting, right? It's not just setting up this calendar, scheduling it out and saying, hey, we're on social media. but it's doing the work of engaging with people, commenting on things, following people, listening out there. That's scary to a lot of marketers, right? I mean, especially in B2B, that takes a lot of time. So how do you manage all of that? How do you go through your day? Who do you have helping you? What does that look like in your world?
Well, B2B is not the same as B2C. You can't have the same level of like an intern kind of handling it and being like funny, and it doesn't work the same way. Like, don't get me wrong, some snark, making people laugh, that's always great. It doesn't matter. You connect with people through laughter. But I mean, I consider, like, I'm a marketer, but I am the vehicle for my entire organization to be heard. And I take that very seriously. And part of that is, my developers have to take part of that, like everyone does. Maybe the executives aren't as interesting. Sometimes you do it for them. Sometimes you have to stand over them to get them to do it. But the people who build the product, they really need to talk to other people who need to buy the product. They have to be active, because there's a limit to what a marketer who doesn't have technical experience can say. I can understand your pain points. You can understand mine intimately, because we have the same ones, because we do the same thing. But I don't understand the pain points of a developer. He can tell me it bothers him, but I don't really know. I'm sorry, them, not him or her. But I have no way of really knowing their day-to-day frustrations and how it really affects them. But someone who's doing the same thing and working on a solution for that problem, that's the person that needs to be talking to them. That is your evangelist. So if you decide to let your developers off the hook because they need to develop, you're losing it. You're losing the reason that you created this product. You're not communicating with the people who need your solution because someone isn't talking to them. You have to do it. It's not optional.
This is such an interesting point, and I think one of the differences between B2C marketing on social media and B2B. You mentioned that with B2C marketing, oftentimes it's an intern or a social media manager or somebody in an agency that's kind of coming up with the creative, putting the content out there on social media. But in your world in B2B, you're actually trying to find who's the subject matter expert in my organization. In many cases, the developer, but maybe if you're building HR tech, it's somebody from HR, financial tech, you're getting somebody from your financial department, pulling those people in the B2B conversation, because that's how you build credibility instead of just having kind of a creative meme or something like that to gain attention. Yeah. How do you work with those internal SMEs? I mean, the developers are obviously busy. How do you get them to actually, do you post on their behalf? Do you kind of do it over email or Slack first, and then you're the one going and publishing that to the social network? What does that interaction look like?
It's a mix of everything. Sometimes I'll just go in and have a conversation. Like I'll create a brief of like 3 or 4 questions that I want to ask, because everyone can find 10 minutes while they're in the kitchen getting some coffee to talk to you. And so no matter how busy anybody is, there's always time. Bring the coffee, bring a Coca-Cola can, whatever they want to drink, bring it, sit down, say, I need answers to these questions. I often record the conversation. Everybody knows I record the conversation, and then I'll transcribe it. So I have maybe a blog post from it. And from that blog post, I can also pick things that I think are very interesting points, and I can tweet them. Sometimes I tweet them on their behalf. Sometimes I tweet them on behalf of the company. And sometimes I sort of gently push the developers or the evangelists of this arena to post. Or we have products like Buffer who handle this for us. We are integrated with them, and I can put on what I need to put on. But the information is always genuine at its source, or it won't work. You can't put a fake voice on something and expect it to sound authentic. It won't. So
I love the tactical stuff there. This idea of recording them and then you publishing on their behalf. It's just like us doing this video. It doesn't take a lot of prep time. You're not asking your developer to go write a blog post, catch them in the kitchen, put a microphone in front of them and be like, just answer this quick question. And then you've got content for you to go publish maybe for the next week or 2 and answer comments and questions. Yeah. Daniela, we're running out of time, but thank you so much for joining us today. This was an awesome conversation about B2B social and bringing your thought leaders and subject matter experts to the forefront. I'm looking forward to a lot more conversations. Everybody, you can find Daniela on LinkedIn. We'll post in the description so you can meet her and chat with her about your B2B marketing needs as well. Thanks, everyone.